Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dishu and you're watching Data Science with Dishu. So this is the third session of module 2, which is Python for data science. So we have started with fundamentals of Python. So in the last two session हमने data structure in Python start किया था. यहाँ पे हमने क्या-क्या cover up किया है. हमने देखा था data structure होता क्या है and why it is necessary in Python. Second thing, we have classified data structure in Python in 5 broad classifications. First was numeric, जहाँ पे हमने इंटीजर, फ्लोट एंड कम्प्लेक्स नंबर कवर अप कर लिया है. देन हमने लास्ट सेशन में सीक्वेंस डेटा टाइप स्टार्ट किया था, जहां पे हमने फर्स्ट डिस्कस किया था स्ट्रिंग से. वी हैव सीन व्हाट इज स्ट्रिंग, देन वी हैव आल्सो डन स्ट्रिंग इंडेक्सिंग एंड स्लाइसिंग. सो आज हम लोग क्या देखेंगे, व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ स्ट्रिंग एंड देन व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट फंक्शंस एंड मेथड्स दैट आर यूज्ड इन स्ट्रिंग. And if time permits in today's video, we will certainly move towards the second sequence data type, that is called list. So just be with me throughout this video and you will definitely learn something today. So remember to hit the like and subscribe button so that it can reach to the more people who actually wants to learn data science. So without getting any further delay, let's get started. चलो guys, so let's start. Last video में हमने कहाँ तक cover up किया था, string indexing and slicing देखा था. So next what we are going to do, we are going to discuss the string properties. So there are actually two properties we have, ordered and immutable. So इसको हम लोग one by one देखेंगे and then we will discuss about the functions and methods that are used in strings. Now before starting the session, यार थोड़ी बैकग्राउंड की आवाज़ आएगी, सो मैनेज कर लेना, क्योंकि यार मेरी जो विंडो है वो कारपेंटर ने खोली है एंड ही हैजंट फिक्स्ड दैट टुडे. सो बगल में रोड है, थोड़ी ट्रैफिक की साउंड आती रहेगी. सो I guess you guys can manage that. Hopefully it will be fixed from next video. Chalo, so before discussing a string, what I want to discuss that one concept that is called variable. So variable को actually हमने कल use किया भी था, like in the last session, but हमने actual में देखा नहीं था कि variable exactly होता क्या है, and variable को define करने के लिए some rules are also made. So we will discuss it today. So first of all, variable होता क्या है यार. सो आपने स्कूल डेज में जरूर पढ़ा होगा दैट इन मैथमेटिक्स वी लेट सम वेरिएबल दैट लेट x इज इक्वल टू 2 और y इज इक्वल टू 5 लाइक दैट. सो हम लोग जो यहाँ पे बोलते हैं लेट x इक्वल्स टू 2, दैट x इज कॉल्ड अ वेरिएबल. सो वेरिएबल इज नथिंग दैट इट इज जस्ट स्टोरिंग सम वैल्यू. सो 2 क्या है, 2 इज अ वैल्यू दैट हैज बीन स्टोर्ड इन x. Now wherever some operations are going on, let's say हम कर रहे हैं x divided by 5, so x will be automatically representing 2 because that is the value that has been stored in variable x. So इससे हमें फायदा क्या होता है, let's say here that it was only 2, but in some cases it might be some big operation that will be going on. Let's say some operations are going on, 2 divided by 5 into 3 divided by 5 again plus 4 dot 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 like that. So whatever the value that you are getting here, this has been directly stored in x, and now this x you can use it whenever you want. So हमें इतनी बड़ी expression we need not to use that again and again. So I think variable is pretty clear, that is very simple thing. But variable, whatever the variable name that you are giving, let's say here you have given x, here you have given y. Now in Python, whatever the variable name that you give, there is a rule that you have to follow. You cannot give some random name of any variable. So what are those rules? We have 4 rules to discuss. First rule is what? It must start with a letter or underscore. So let's say someone has defined a variable that is called 2x. Now is it a valid variable name in Python? No, because the first rule says that it should start with a letter or underscore, but here what is happening, it is starting with 2, so ये नहीं हो सकता है ना. So that is a wrong variable name. So instead of 2x, what you can do, you can do x2. That is okay. Why? Because it has been started with a letter x. So that's the first rule. The second rule is what? It cannot start with a number. So I have covered up that in the first rule itself, that it should not start with a number like this one. It is starting with 2, so that is why it is wrong. चलो इसको मैं रेड से कर देता हूँ, and that should be green. What is the third rule? Variable names are case sensitive. What is that thing? So let's say आपने एक variable name दिया, that is called name1, और आपने let's say some random name store कर लिया. Now what is the variable name that you have given? Name1. So it is starting with a letter, that is okay. So until now, whatever the rules we know, from that perspective it is right. Now let's say someone has given another variable name, that is name1 again. ये उल्टा क्यों हो गया यार, चलो 1. That is, let's say again he has stored the same variable, sorry, the value Aman. Now you would say that this is a variable name name1 and this is also a variable name name1. Now are those the same thing? No, they are not same. Why? Because that's the third rule we have, that variable names are case sensitive. That means if this one started with a small n and this is started with capital N, that means they are two different variables. They are not same. Even if the spell is same, they are different just because that they are case sensitive. Cool, that's the third rule. And the last rule we have is it cannot contain the spaces in between. Now that's pretty simple. Like if someone has given name, then a space and 1, then what will happen? Then this one is not a correct name. But यहीं पे आपने क्या किया, name underscore 1 कर दिया, then that is a correct variable name. Why? Because you are not giving any spaces and you can use an underscore as discussed in the first rule. So it must start with a letter or underscore, but आप in between भी letter and underscore use कर सकते हो. So this was the simple concept of variable and the rules for naming a variable. So I think ये clear हो गया होगा, but फिर भी to make it more clear, let's directly jump into Collab Notebook where we will look it practically. So here we are in Collab Notebook. So it might look some different from the previous session, but मैंने बस dark theme apply कर दिया है, so it looks cool. That is why. So आप कहाँ से कर सकते हो? Directly you can go to the setting and here you can set either dark or light, whatever you want. Okay. Or you can also go to the tools and in setting again, that will be the same option that will be coming. ठीक है. So let's start with variables. So as said that there are some operation that we can do and you can store that into a variable name. So here the variable name is x. So let's say I'm running that. So x has been stored, whatever the result that will be coming out of that expression, that will be stored in x. Now again another variable y equals to 5 I am storing, and you can see if I just print x, so print is a function that is used to print whatever the value we want. Okay, so that is the simplest function that we have in Python. So anything just print means just usko print kar do, we want to look at it. So you can see I want to look at the value of x, whatever the value that was stored in x, I'm just printing that, and this is 1.25. Now you can see what is the benefit of using that variable, that instead of taking the value of x, you are just passing x, you can see, and instead of having the value of y, again you are just passing the variable y. So we can directly divide y divided by x and we can also get the result, that is 4. So that means 5 divided by 1.25. So जो भी रिजल्ट यहाँ से आया, that is 1.25, ये stored हो गया x में and we can use the x anywhere in the code we want. Cool. Next, the same example, like just to clear the things more, x equals to 3, y equals to 20, and we are giving a floor division, that is y double slash x. So that means 20 double slash 3, so that will be a floor division. So that will be coming 6.666 and the lowest integer will be 6, that is why it is getting returned. So you can see even if I don't pass y and x value, if I just directly give the value of 20 and double slash 3, that is the same thing that is going on here. Cool. So you're getting 6 again. Now instead of storing some integer value, here we are storing a string value. So you can also store a string value. So x equals to ram I am storing, and if I just print x, it will print ram. So even if in Python you don't use the print function, if you just give the variable name, it will automatically print that variable. So why we are using print here? So it will be more clear in the further session, where I'll be giving you example that in which cases we need to use print and in which cases we don't actually require to use that print function. Next, what I am doing, I am just dividing x by 2. Now x is what? X is a string, that is ram, that has been stored. Now if I divide x by 2, it will definitely get some error, because a string cannot be divided by an integer. So you can see unsupported operand types for string and int. So string and int cannot be divided. That means that operand cannot be used here. Next, you can multiply with any constant value to any string. So that is why it will just concatenate that. So we have seen that concept in the last video also. So it is just printing 5 times ram. Now that's the same rule that we have discussed. So 4 rules. So you can see this is what? This is a correct variable name because it is starting with an underscore. So if you start any variable name with underscore, that is fine. You can see it has been stored and it is fine. Now you can say number a, again that is a correct variable name because it is starting with a letter and it has no spaces in between, so it is just storing 20.5, and then you can just print and see. Now you can see if I am printing number underscore small a, what it is giving? It is giving an error that number a is not defined. Why? Because we have defined number underscore a where a is again capital letter, and here what we are doing, यहाँ पे हम लोग स्मॉल लेटर लिख रहे हैं. सो सिंस आपने डिफाइन किया था नंबर ए दैट इज होल इन कैपिटल लेटर, बट हियर आप क्या कर रहे हो, नंबर इन कैपिटल एंड a in a small letter. That is why it is not recognizing it, because it has not been defined. So this is what, this is the third properties, that is variable names are case sensitive. So if I just define number s underscore a equals to 20, and if I just print that, it will print 20 because it is the same variable name I am giving which I have defined. Now you can see, so those are the similar examples that I have given. You can look at it. Cool. So I think अब ये पूरा clear हो गया होगा that what is variable and what are the rules that is used for naming the variables. So next हम लोग चलेंगे string properties, that is ordered and immutable. Now the first property that is called ordered, ये आप पहले ही देख चुके हो, because string is coming under what? Sequence data type. And what is sequence data type? ये मैंने शुरू में डिस्कस किया था, दैट सीक्वेंस मीन्स हैविंग सम ऑर्डर. दैट मीन्स एवरी कैरेक्टर इन एनी स्ट्रिंग, लेट्स से फॉर पाइथन, that all have some indexes, like this one is 0, this one is 1, this is 2, dot dot dot, like that. So that is why it is called ordered. So ये first properties तो already clear है. So we'll move into the second properties, that is called immutable. Now simply if you see the English meaning of immutable, immutable means क्या होता है? That means कि जिसमें बदलाव नहीं आ सकता. That means you cannot change that. Now what does that mean that you cannot change? Let's see. I have defined a variable name equals to Roshan. Now once I have defined name equals to Roshan, it cannot be changed. What cannot be changed? The value Roshan that you have stored in variable name, that value cannot be changed. That means let's say आप क्या करना चाहते हो, Let's say you want that Roshan should be not having H, Rausan. That means you are removing that character H. So that is the one change you want. Other thing what you can do, let's say you are telling that I want Roshan to be written like that. That means what you are doing, you are replacing A with O here. Now this is the changes that we are talking about. That means whatever the value initially you have defined for that variable name, you are not allowed to make changes in the value of that string. Yes, you can definitely do that. You are defining another variable name equals to, let's say, Viplav. Now here what is happening, initially आपने क्या define किया था, name equals to Roshan. Now you have defined name equals to Viplav. So in Python, whatever the value that you are giving latest to any variable, that will be stored. So when you print name, what it will print? It will print Viplav instead of Roshan, because this is the latest value that you have given to the variable name. So एक variable में एक ही value stored हो सकता है. So whatever the latest value that you have given, that will be stored. Now that is different thing. But in the same value, if you want to make some changes to that string, because we are talking about the string, just like this one, you are changing, you are removing H out of that value, you are removing A and replacing with O in that value. So that is not possible, and that is called immutable properties of string. So let's look into that immutable property of a string practically, and it will be more clear to you. Now you can see I have defined a variable str1 and I have stored the value Pius as a name to this variable. Now what I am doing, that I am just printing the value of character that is at second index. So it will start from 0, 1, 2, that means it should print y. So you can see it is printing y here. Now let's say I want to change that character y into some different character. Let's say I want to replace that with e. So what you're doing, actually you are taking the second index and you are giving a value e. So practically what it will return, it will return an error, because what you are doing, you are replacing the y with e in that string. Since string are immutable, it will return an error that string object does not support item assignment. So that is the error that you will get when you want to replace or change some character of that string, or if you want to delete some character of that string. Now let's see, जो मैंने आपको बताया था कि if I am defining another variable same name with same name str1, and I am defining another name instead of Pius. Let's say I am storing Prakash. So if I just print str1 again, what it should print? It should print Prakash instead of Pius. Why? Because this is the latest value that I have given to str1. So you can see if I just print that, it will return Prakash instead of Pius. Cool. So I think immutability part is clear now. Now we can move towards the second session, that is functions and methods. So first of all आपको ये समझना है कि function and methods होता क्या है. So I'm not going to discuss functions and methods in deep here, क्योंकि future session में हम लोग function and methods को deeply सीखने वाले हैं. So here I'll be giving just a brief overview of what is functions and methods. So let's say आपने कुछ Python में यहाँ पे कोड लिखा. Let's say you have written x equals to 2 and y equals to 5. Then you have given z equals to x plus y minus 2x plus 3y square divided by 2x. and then just you are printing z. Now this is just a simple example which I am giving. Let's say आपने ये कोड लिख रखा है. So z क्या है? Z is actually some formula that you are using, and using the value of x and y you are finding z and just you are printing z. Now what are the values that you have given to x and y? You have given x equals to 2 and y equals to 5. Now what if I want x equals to 5 and y equals to 7? So if I say कि आप ये value रख लो and then again tell me what is the value of z and print it. So आप क्या करोगे? आप again ये पूरा कोड लिखोगे that x equals to 5, y equals to 7, then z equals to this formula and then you will print z. भाई मेरा तो दिमाग ठीक है तो मैंने बोला एक बार. अब कोई हो सकता है सन के आदमी जो बोल दे भाई मेरे को 50 बार चेंजेस चाहिए, बार बार वो x एंड y की डिफरेंस वैल्यू देता रहेगा. सो आप बैठ के ये 50 बार कोड तो नहीं ना लिखोगे. सो दैट इज वेयर फंक्शंस एंड मेथड्स कम्स इनटू कंसिडरेशन. आप क्या कर सकते हो? आप इस कोड को सेव कर सकते हो विद सम नेम टू दैट फंक्शन. लेट्स से आपने इस फंक्शन का नाम क्या रख दिया? फाइंड z, एंड आप इसमें x एंड y की वैल्यू पास कर रहे हो जो कि यहाँ पे कैलकुलेट होके प्रिंट हो जा रहा है. नाउ इफ यू हैव डिफाइंड दैट फंक्शन वंस, व्हाट विल हैपन? अगर ये सन के आदमी फिर से आपको बोलता है कि x इक्वल्स टू 10 रखो एंड y इक्वल्स टू 15 रखो and tell me the value of z. So what you will do? Simply you will call that function that you have defined find z and you just simply pass the value of x and y. So x equals to 10 and y equals to 15 and आपका ये function क्या करेगा? Directly it will apply the logic that you have defined once and that will return directly the value of z. So you can see how easily that code has been written and saved once, and you can use that again and again with the help of that function concept. Now यहाँ पे तो I have given just a simple example, 2-3 lines of code. It might happen that it will be having hundreds of lines of codes and you are just saving it and you are using that again and again wherever you want. So that's the function. Now what is method? Method is just a special type of function. So if that is a function, method is, you can say, a special type of function and that is actually defined under a class. अब भैया पूछोगे अब क्लास क्या है, ये कहाँ से आ गया? So I'm not going to discuss about the class here because already I have decided in the future session that we'll be discussing about function, methods and all that concept, class. So it will be actually coming in OOPS concept if you have heard about that, object oriented programming. So in that concept we will be covering up what is class actually and what are the methods actually. So अभी के लिए बस आप समझ लो that method is again a function, that is the same thing but it is defined under class, or class can be anything like string is also a class. So string class के अंदर जो भी specific function use होता है that is actually called method. Cool. So I think the overview of function and method is clear now. So we can move towards some functions and method that are actually defined for string. So it's a start with len. Len is a sort of length, that is what actually it is used to find out the length of any string. Then max, mean, count, upper, lower, find, all of these we will directly look into Collab notebook so that it will be more clear and there will be no any confusions.